Welcome to the Deep Dive. Okay, so you've got the latest Waldenstrom's Weekly here, and wow, it really is focused, but there's a lot packed in. Science, community stuff, everything.
Right, and our job today really is to cut through that density.
Exactly. We're here to pull out the key announcements, the big medical updates, and the support opportunities that matter for you if you're navigating the WM landscape. We want you to finish this feeling totally up to speed.
That synthesis is really the goal, isn't it? We're not just listing things out. We're trying to figure out what actually impacts the patient journey, like right now.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe just to frame this, let's quickly touch on the IWMF's mission, since they're behind these updates. Their whole point is supporting and educating everyone WM effects.
Yeah, better patient outcomes, push for a cure. That's the core.
Precisely. So that gives us a good starting point for where all this energy is going.
Okay, so the newsletter kicks off with special announcements. And the very first thing is a call for input, right? For next year's IWMF Educational Forum.
Yes, they're basically asking the community, asking you, what do you need to learn about? Who do you want to hear from?
It's very patient-focused planning.
Totally. They want the 2026 program shaped by what actually matters to patients and caregivers. It's a direct way you can influence things.
And then right after that, there's this wellness update. November is Gratitude Month. But it's not just, feel-good fluff.
No, not at all. What's really interesting is how they connect it to the neuroscience behind it.
Ah, okay.
The source material mentions that consciously practicing gratitude, whether you're giving it or getting it, actually triggers dopamine and serotonin.
The feel-good chemicals.
Exactly. So using their wellness calendar or the hashtag WMGratitude isn't just symbolic. It's like a structured way to strengthen those helpful neural pathways. Biological self-care, really.
That's fascinating. Okay, so from neurochemistry to pharmaceuticals.
Mm-hmm.
Big news here. A new tablet formulation for Brukinsa. That's B1's BTK inhibitor.
Yes. And this sounds like a small change, maybe, but for daily life, it could be pretty substantial.
Tell us about that, the practical side.
Well, the timeline is important. The FDA in the U.S. approved this tablet back in June 2025. That's for all its approved uses, including WM.
Mm-hmm.
Then the switch from capsules to tablets started happening pretty fast in the US and Canada, around October 2025. If you're in the EU or elsewhere, expect that rollout during 2026.
And the benefit for patients? Less hassle.
Huge benefit. The new tablet is 160 milligram. It's smaller, it's film-coated, so it should be easier to swallow. And the big thing is the pill burden.
Right.
Instead of 4 capsules a day for the standard dose, it's now just 2 tablets.
That's half the number of pills.
Yeah. And here's a really key detail for personalized medicine. The tablets are scored.
Ah, so they can be split.
Exactly. If your doctor needs you on a lower dose, splitting is now an option. That's vital flexibility.
That kind of practical improvement leads nicely into the research pipeline, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You mentioned Nurix Therapeutics.
Yes, they're definitely generating some buzz. They have presentations coming up at the big hematology meeting, ASH, the American Society of Hematology. That's in December in Orlando.
Okay, ASH. And they're presenting data on NX-5948. What is that exactly?
It's from their phase 1A/1B clinical trial, and this is for a BTK degrader.
Okay, hold on. BTK inhibitor, like Brukinsa, we know that blocks the protein. What's a BTK degrader? Why is that different?
Great question. So an inhibitor, like you said, puts up a roadblock. It stops the BTK protein from working.
Right.
A degrader is, well, it's more active. It's designed to find the BTK protein, tag it, and basically tell the cell's own disposal system, get rid of this.
So it removes the protein entirely instead of just blocking it.
That's the idea. It's potentially a more thorough way to eliminate the protein driving the disease, a next-generation approach.
Interesting. So where can we see this new data at ASH?
They'll have 2 presentations. One is an oral one, focusing on results in patients with relapsed or refractory CLL, that's chronic lymphocytic leukemia. And then there's a poster presentation with updated results specifically in WM patients. We'll definitely be watching for those details in December.
Got it. Okay, before we jump into all the upcoming educational events, let's quickly touch on the community side. Waldenstrom France, WF, had a big webinar recently.
Yeah, sounds like it was really successful. Over 90 people, patients, caregivers, doctors, joined their session called Everything You Always Wanted to Know About Waldenstrom's Disease, but Were Afraid to Ask. Great title.
Yeah. And advocacy is ongoing too, right? IWMF trustee Eileen Sullivan was at a Target Cancer think tank.
That's right, in Boston, focused on advancing precision medicine in rare cancers. So making sure WM is part of those high-level talks about targeted therapies.
Okay, good. Now let's shift gears to the educational calendar. There's a lot coming up like immediately, starting tomorrow.
Yes, tomorrow, Saturday, November 8th. The Lymphoma Research Foundation, LRF, has their virtual Living with Lymphoma program.
And there's a specific WM part.
There is a breakout session with Dr. Yazid Sawala. But it's not just clinical stuff. They're also covering supportive care topics, integrative oncology, coping while on watch and wait, sexual health, important quality of life things.
That focus on quality of life connects right into the next webinar on November 12th, Understanding Financial and Time Toxicity in Cancer. That sounds heavy, but necessary.
Oh, absolutely essential, because the stress from treatment costs, maybe losing income, and just the sheer time cancer takes up, these aren't medical side effects, but they definitely impact your health.
For sure.
So this webinar, it's free, it's with Triage Cancer, and it's meant to give you actual practical tips, strategies for managing time, reducing that financial stress burden.
Really practical help. Okay, then just 2 days later, November 14th, Patient Power has Answers Now. Living well with a chronic cancer. What's the angle there?
This one seems to be directly addressing the emotional side of living long-term with cancer. They did a survey, apparently, that showed the real emotional toll it takes.
Makes sense.
So the discussion with Emily Berglund, she's a licensed clinical social worker, will tackle the grief that can come with a chronic diagnosis. You know, the grief over maybe lost plans or just the constant uncertainty, stuff we don't always talk about.
Very important.
Yeah.
Okay, shifting to something maybe a little lighter but still practical, holiday eating. Blood Cancer United has a webinar on November 20th.
Yes, Unite to Nourish, holiday eating for cancer survivors. Perfect timing.
Right.
Registered dietitians will be sharing tips, simple recipes, strategies for navigating holiday parties, balancing treats, managing side effects. Basically, how to enjoy the season while still taking care of yourself.
Useful for survivors and caregivers alike.
Yeah.
Okay, and one more under education, the NCCN Patient Advocacy Summit. This sounds like it takes a broader view.
It really does. It's looking at systemic issues. The focus group this year is veterans and first responders.
Why them specifically?
Because data shows they often have a higher risk for certain cancers, potentially linked to their service or exposures. So the summit's digging into that, the unique care needs, challenges with governmental support or awareness of programs, health literacy issues, and importantly, the policy fights around things like presumptive coverage for service-related cancers. It's about pushing for bigger changes.
That focus on systems is a good transition to the support structures available right now. Let's start with a core one, the IWMF Lifeline Peer Support Directory.
Yes, and it's really important to understand what Lifeline is and isn't. It's run by volunteers, patients, caregivers sharing their own experiences.
So peer support, not medical advice.
Exactly. They're very clear on that. They're there to help you find better information, maybe point you to the right expert, share what it was like for them. It's that empathy, that shared journey perspective.
And that network is growing. There's a new meeting specifically for caregivers.
Yes, starting November 12th. A new monthly meeting just for WM caregivers and care partners.
Who can join that?
They say it's really inclusive. Anyone supporting someone with WM. They even mention that it doesn't matter how much caregiving you do or if you're a patient who's also a caregiver. It's just about creating that dedicated space for support.
That's great. And speaking of specific groups, you mentioned the NCCN Summit looking at veterans. LRF is doing something related too.
Yes, complementing that summit discussion, LRF has a Veterans Day program coming up.
What will that cover?
It sounds very practical. A patient story, info on lymphoma risk factors, details about the PACT Act, and other resources specifically for current and former military members. Direct help.
Good connection there. The WM community also offers support through these very specific affinity groups, right? Can you list the upcoming ones?
Sure. These are crucial because different groups face different challenges. So there's the Young WM Affinity Group. That's for patients and caregivers, generally pre-retirement age, meeting November 22nd.
Okay.
Then the LGBTQ plus Affinity Group meets December 6th. And for folks dealing with Bing-Neal syndrome, which is a very specific WM complication.
Right, affecting the central nervous system.
Exactly. That group has 2 separate meeting times on December 7th and 8th, one in the afternoon Eastern time, one in the evening to try and accommodate people globally.
That makes sense. Okay, one more support item before we dive into the wellness program. Feature a workshop for families. Supporting kids through a parent's diagnosis on December 3rd.
Yeah, this tackles a huge question for parents. How do you talk to your kids about this?
It's tough.
For sure. So this workshop explores what kids and teens actually need. gives tips on talking to different age groups, shares coping techniques to help them process feelings. It features Carissa Hodgson, a clinical social worker specializing in oncology, partnering with the cancer support community. Really valuable stuff.
Definitely. Okay, so let's wrap with the deeper dive into the wellness program itself, which this month focuses on integrative oncology.
Yes, the November Wellness webinar, also on November 20th, is all about this. And we need to be clear on what integrative oncology, or IO, means.
Okay, define it for us.
It's a patient-centered approach. It combines standard, conventional cancer treatments, chemo, targeted therapies, etc., with evidence-based complementary therapies.
Evidence-based being the key phrase there.
Absolutely critical. IO only uses therapies shown by research to be safe and helpful for things like quality of life. It is not the same as alternative medicine, which often lacks that proof or might even interfere with treatment.
Got it. So what are the goals of IO and what kinds of therapies are they actually talking about in this webinar?
The goals are really holistic: improve quality of life, manage treatment side effects better, support the whole person, body, mind, spirit.
Makes sense.
The webinar will look specifically at things like acupuncture, yoga therapy, massage therapy. It'll also stress the importance of stress relief for both patients and caregivers.
And who's presenting this?
Jockey Bowers. She's a licensed massage therapist with like 17 years of experience, including specialized training in oncology massage. So real expertise there.
And they also mentioned a past webinar people could check out on vitamins and supplements.
Yes, in case you missed it. That featured Kimda Rhodes, who is both a pharmacist and a WM caregiver. Her focus was on how integrative approaches, like supplements, can be used safely alongside standard care. Again, emphasizing safety and evidence.
Okay, so putting it all together, we've gone from a new Brukinsa tablet making daily life easier to cutting-edge BTK degraders at ASH, through to really practical support on finances, emotions, holiday eating, and now this detailed look at evidence-based integrative care.
It paints a picture, doesn't it, of a really active, organized community tackling WM from all angles. You've got the hard science pushing forward alongside this deep commitment to holistic care and support. It's about improving things constantly on both fronts.
So for you listening, you now have the shortcut to what's most important in this newsletter stack. The real takeaway is to actually use these resources. Check out those webinars, look into the support groups if they fit your needs. They're timely.
Definitely. And just one last little fun detail from the newsletter. Their next issue, the WM Weekly, coming out November 21st, is going to be their 200th issue.
Oh, wow. Milestone.
Yeah. And apparently they're doing a little celebration, a special gift for the 200th person who opens that email.
Huh. Okay, a little incentive to open your email quickly that day.
Exactly. A fun reason to keep an eye out for the next update.
Absolutely. Okay, consider yourself fully briefed on this latest round of WM news and resources. Thanks for tuning into the deep dive. We'll catch you next time.